It's your boy, Ed the Dread, aka Eddie Money Mouth. And you are tuned in to the Money Mouth Podcast. Yes, sir. Coming to you from the Laco Lab, Wailuku, Maui, Hawaii. Nay. I'm your host, Ed the Dread. Right, you are tuned into the inaugural episode 1, numero uno, ho'okahi of the podcast that will be coming to you on Mondays. Call it Money Mouth Monday, if you will. Oh, but yeah, I'm going to be broadcasting to you here from the Laco Lab, and you'll be getting a little bit about my life, a little bit about adventures here on Maui, things that I'm interested in, involved in, and current events, things along those lines. So for our first episode, we're just going to go into a little bit about me, how I got the name Ed the Dread, also Eddie Money Mouth, and then I got this pretty dope Money Mouth tattoo, and we'll give you a little insight about that. Right, so first and foremost, I haven't always lived on Maui. Right, I've been here about 6.5 years, and I currently do a number of things, amongst them teaching, reffing soccer, announcing surf contests. I'm a high school surf coach. I paint. I trim coconut trees. I do landscaping. I do a whole lot of stuff, okay? It's expensive as hell to live out here. So if you want to pay rent and your truck payment and live your life, then you got to have multiple jobs. So that's how we do. But before living here on Maui, I grew up on the East Coast in America land, specifically Montgomery County, Maryland, outside of Northwest D.C. I am the product of a white male from that same area and a black female from LaGrange, North Carolina. Right, my parents met in the 80s. They worked together, and I'm pretty sure my dad sold my mom weed, so that's tight. But yeah, back then, it wasn't as hip as it is now for like a white dude to be with any other ethnicity of female. So, with that said, there weren't many people at their wedding. People weren't really into them being together, and they may not have even thought they would stick together until they had me. Um, Also, with that said, I have a little bit of different perspective than most biracial males growing up in that area. I fit right in here out in Maui. I kind of look like everybody and surf, skim, skate, do all the same things that most of the people here or that are from here do. But where I grew up, the majority of biracial people have like a black dad, white mom, and end up doing things that like a black male would do. Whereas I was ice skating at 4 years old and riding a skateboard when I was 4, as opposed to playing like organized sports or anything like that. Right. So I grew up in Maryland, and I'm pretty sure I was born in the same hospital my dad was born in Silver Spring. Right. Like probably up until 22. I would say I continued to go back to the area, and then I lived in New Jersey for about 8 years after playing professional soccer. 3 years in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and 1 year in Richmond with the Richmond Kickers, the longest running professional franchise in America. But I actually had a conversation with a high school player today about the '94 World Cup, which is what got me super interested in soccer and super involved in it and made me know that I wanted to play college. And I mean, to tell you the truth, I had the intention to play pro when I was like 10 or 11 years old, although there wasn't like a league readily available for me to play in and or watch. Right. So I ended up going to college in Pennsylvania for my freshman and sophomore year, and then transferred to Monmouth in New Jersey, where I sat out 1 year and then continued my soccer playing career for 2 more, and then played 4 years professionally after that. But it was my freshman year of college where I actually got the name Ed the Dread. And I didn't come up with it myself. it was given to me by some Bermudian homies that I played with. Shout out to Aaron Williams. Shout out to Elroy Jermaine Dill. And shout out to Vinzi Killer Zool. Yes, sir. Uh, those are just some really tight homies of mine. I was on a team where majority of the people were white and Canadian and from, the East Coast America, Pennsylvania, New York. Not many brothers on the team. So me and these two guys got right along. And Vinzi, not only was she an amazing soccer player, but she was a DJ in Bermuda before she ended up going to college for soccer. So, uh, to speak on that, actually, if I recall correctly, she was broadcasting live over the internet once a week a DJ mix for like 2 or 3 hours from her dorm room back to Bermuda. Now, that was 2001, right? And before that, we had like dial up internet. It was like you had to have a modem on the back of your computer or some shit, and you had to have a phone line plugged into that joint. So if you didn't have like two phone lines like some of the richer homies had, like we just had the one line, didn't even have call waiting. So like if you was on the internet, you couldn't even get through to make a house call. And like if your mom picked up the phone, that shit would kick you off the internet. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm surfing." They'd be like, "Goodbye," and you'd be like, "Mom, what the fuck?" She's like, "I gotta call your auntie." Crazy shit. But then when we got to college, the initiative was that all the freshmen got a laptop and the campus was wireless. So like they thought it was going to be a great idea. You'll be able to go to class, take your notes, do all this shit. But man, just like all the kids nowadays use technology, bro, I was burning CDs and just doing other stuff. I'd like go to class late sometimes and be like on AOL Instant Messenger, like, hey, what's going on up in the class? And somebody hit me back, like, and then oh, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. So it's like, we weren't, well, okay, I lied because I did do all my work, right? I did graduate college with like a 3.7. So it's not like I didn't also do the work, uh, but we did utilize the fresh new internet basically to like steal music and DVDs and stuff. Play online games. Peanut butter and jelly time. That was fucking real popular back then. Oh my god. So anyway, what was also popular back then was smoking weed, same as it's popular right now. So me and the two homies, like, we were like, I mean, they were older than me at that time. Like I was 17 my freshman year of college. So I was just like a broke little kid whose parents was like putting a little bit of money in his account every now and then. And like I would take maybe, I don't know, $20 to $40 a week and invest that in herb. And it was like me and the two homies would put whatever we had together, get a bag, and we'd smoke like a joint a night. Or I mean, not a joint, we smoke a blunt a night. Right. So we would just like cruise down to the football stadium, right? The long ass fucking stairs down from the damn dorms all the way down to anything. And then we smoke, they stand down there in between all the pine trees and just smoke out. It's like I actually seen those two guys see their first snowfall ever at that spot smoking a blunt. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, it was there. I mean, maybe not specifically there, but in those instances of like, hey, we smoking herb down here together, and they introduced me to so many new things, like outside of just listening to Bob Marley reggae. I was like getting into Capleton, Sizzla, Buju Banton, uh, Vinzi. She was like DJing for, or maybe not DJing for, but had something to do with Collie Buds at the time. He was like up and coming in the scene. So uh, I was getting way more into reggae and way more into like Rasta, or what I considered Rasta back then. So like I went from having braids and cornrows, plaits, all sorts of different styles, uh, to just getting locked up. And the homies were about it, but seeing as how they came from an island culture where like there's actually Rastas, Like they made sure after they gave me the nickname Ed the Dread, that they told me like, yeah, like you Ed the Dread, but like right now you a Cookie Dread. Like your shit fake, dog. You still drink alcohol, you still eat meat. You know what I'm saying? You fucking fornicate with women who you don't really care about what their consciousness level or vibrational frequency is. So there was like a lot of things I was doing that wasn't in the realm of Rasta. So it was almost like they gave me the Ed the Dread nickname, blessing me with it to step into the life that I have now, where I'm plant based. I haven't drank alcohol in like, I don't know, maybe a decade, almost 10 years now. Um, and I sure as hell am very specific who I spend any time with, let alone any intimacy with. So, like I said, pretty much a blessing that those homies hooked me up with the Ed the Dread nickname. I mean, where I grew up, like I said, it wasn't like I didn't have access to being around Jamaicans and or I mean, I played on my club soccer team. There was plenty of people from different cultures. We were the only Metro Stars. Like our coach kind of just put together all the guys that like couldn't afford to play for a better team, and he just like fronted the money for the uniforms and got us all together, and we balled out. But it's not like I didn't know people of those cultures. I just never had been, immersed so deeply with them. Like when you go to college, you're damn near living with them homies, you know? Uh, I didn't have a roommate. Like, well, I had a roommate, but yo, he just bounced. That was probably the funniest shit to ever happen in the history of happenings. Uh, so I guess they try to put you with a person from your area so that maybe y'all can meet up together, and have some things in common, um, so that you're comfortable your freshman year of college. So I get paired up with this dude who went to private school, who dudes from my club team went to the private school, but they ain't even know the guy. So like, uh, I move in early because I was there for athletics and he wasn't, and he just wanted the top bunk. And he just basically laid in this top bunk and put his game console in the shelving of his closet and just laid in his top bunk looking at the shelving of his closet playing video games all the time. And I mean, I'd be in there smoking, drinking, having chicks over, like fucking bed rocking, and homeboys just up there playing video games. Like, yo, it was probably only like like a month and a half, 2 months that he made it, and then he just broke. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take living with Ed the Dread. uh it was a trip the one time because I came back this one time like ready to go out, like party with the homies. I don't even know, but I definitely wasn't expecting what I walked into, because I'm in there thinking I'm about to like cut up some herb and take a grab or something, and this guy is like playing video games with the RA, and I'm just like, yo, what? And the RA is sitting on my bed, RA's on the bed looking up, homies in the thing laying, and it was just the most awkward scenario ever. So so I didn't really experience having a roommate too much. That guy left, and then the second semester, I was given another roommate who just kind of came. Actually, yo, I forgot about that brother. That brother was from like Tallahassee, Florida or something. Came up like knocked a chick up, and it was like that. He was like a month and out. He was just like a month and out, chicken like a yellow sunfire. That brother was gone. Uh, and then the next year, I found out that if you told them that you and your roommate had problems that you found unreconcilable, that if they had extra rooms in your dorm, they would separate the two of you and you wouldn't have to pay extra to have the single room. So me and the dude that I was rooming with, Nadim, shout out Nadim Huzrefovich, freaking, I want to say he might have gone to Baldwin High School out in Pittsburgh, and I'm over here working at Baldwin High School in Maui. It's wild. But that homie, he wanted number 8. Like there was a senior had it 8, and then 3 of us freshmen wanted it sophomore year, And coach was kind of like, yo, how are we going to figure this out? And I mean, I just pulled the yo who played the most minutes because I mean, I played the most minutes. So then I got the number. But like me and the homie kind of played that to our advantage. We were like, oh, like I took number 8, he wanted number 8. We really can't stand each other, like da 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 da, because we knew they had an open room. So then they gave us both our own room for that whole year. That shit was wild. Uh, but yeah, that's all beside the point. Um, those homies, Elroy and Aaron, they became like my family. You know, like uh, Aaron might have gone and done stuff on holidays, but there was times where Elroy came back to my house for like Christmas break. Like he just came and lived with us for the month or whatever, or Thanksgiving break, whatever the case was. So being like immersed in pretty much their culture because we're out there in the mountain in Pennsylvania, and like I'm definitely not going to be fitting in with these cats that are like from bumfuck Pennsylvania, and no offense to my homies like that are the Caucasian dudes from back then, shout out the Trey, Rohasic and Tomasini, Bernie Showers, cats like that. But the amount of stuff that we actually had in common as me being like a black male, other than soccer, wasn't that much, right? Like maybe we had soccer and smoking weed and we liked chicks and we ate food, so like that was cool. We like rap, we freestyled a little, but I definitely gravitated more toward the Bermudian cats, which is just more my style. As you can see, I live on a freaking island now. Um, a blessing one time though that I actually did get to kick it with Jermaine Elroy Dill out in Burmy, because when playing pro for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL Division Two at the time, Bermuda had a team. And every year there was a lottery to see which team from the States would get to be the away team there for like a 2-week trip. And we won the lottery one time. So like my family came over for a week. We played their pro team 2 games, and I think their national team for 1 game. Uh, but ultimately, I got to see the island. It's pretty small. It's only like, don't quote me, maybe like 15 miles long and like 4 or 5 miles wide. So not very, very large, but beautiful, and I was able to like take a bus from our hotel and then go kick it with my boy and meet up with him. So hopefully in the future all this stuff kicks off and I'm able to make it back out there, maybe bring him out there. But I'd love to link back up with the Burmy crew, because shit, man, y'all changed my life back in the day and I really appreciate that, yo. uh yes sir. So that's the Ed the Dread story. Here I am now, Ed the Dread. Before it was Cookie Dread and now grew into it. And obviously, life is a progression, so I'm not completely fulfilled with any of this stuff. Still working on myself daily and still working on all of this daily, right? But onto Eddie Money Mouth, right? I one time watched an interview of Floyd Mayweather, and he was just saying how he started referring to himself as Mayweather, Floyd Money Mayweather, and that's when money started happening for him, right? So uh a lot of times I joke, I play on songs, and being that I lived in Jersey for about 10 years, you go anywhere in Jersey, you're going to hear all sorts of hair bands from the freaking 70s and 80s. Uh, so like Eddie Money was a song, or Eddie Money was an artist that would come on a lot. I want to say that it is like "Take Me Home Tonight," na, na, na. Parker House Sunday Nights. Oh my God. Oh, what a crazy debacle. But anyway, Eddie Money, old school rocker from back in the day. I honestly can't tell you much about the fool, but like I just thought that was a cool ass name, right? Now for me personally, I'm an announcer. I was the East Coast skimboarding announcer for Skim USA for I don't know 5 or 6 years. I have announced the high school surfing here, but I'm currently the HSA Maui surf announcer for the Maui and state sanctioned surf contests. Uh, Clearly, I'm here talking on a podcast, and I have the Ed the Dread show, which I do a whole lot of other stuff. So, with my current profession being a teacher, I'm speaking all day. So, my idea is just like Floyd Mayweather, we trying to make the money come from the mouth, baby. Eddie Money Mouth. So I got this one good friend who's the manager over at Mid Pacific Tattoo down in Kihei, Cabe. He cracks me up, and I go to him with a whole bunch of stupid ideas for tattoos all the time. Um, because I got a lot of wild tattoos and things that, you know, I don't think is too crazy, but he is like, yeah, bro, I'm not gonna do that. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But he's done some amazing work on me. He's done all my throat work, which is tremendous color. He drew them himself, on his stylus pad. So he's an amazing artist. If you're here on Maui, go check him out. One of a few that I've gone to, but basically he's done the most work for me, definitely. And also surfs a lot at the bay. He's just a stand-up homie, man. Him and his wife are out there surfing all the time. They go on surf trips together. So embodying something that you would probably want to live to be like if you're a surfer. You know what I'm saying? So this one day when I'm all okay, uh, it's always happened this way that like you're almost out of money and you're like, oh, like working so hard on this one thing where it's not really like the thing you should probably be doing all this work on. And it's like specifically for teaching, there was a $8,000 new pay stipend, which I was an emergency hire out at this school in Hana, and freaking everybody gets told, yeah, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get the 8,000 raise, da, 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 da. And I didn't get the $8,000 raise, and I was like really struggling at the time. I mean, like freaking. Bro, my old roommate Cruz will attest for this one. Sometimes I had to leave the truck running outside because like the battery was like almost dead, like barely holding charge, but I didn't have the money to even get out of Hana because like if you don't live out here, like Hana's it's the furthest spot on the island, not specifically by distance, but because of just how crazy and windy the roads are and how nuts it is to actually get there, right? Like if you flew, it'd take you like no time in your life, but like driving, it's like a shit show, especially with tourists and freaking other nutcases. But that's beyond me. So like, uh, my truck was freaking. There was times where I was just struggling, okay, and I was down on my last money. I look over to my one coworker and I'm like, "Hey, dog, check this out. Like, if they don't give me the raise, because this was at the point that I didn't know. He was kind of like, "You're not gonna get it," and I was like, "Nah, bro, I'm definitely gonna get it." And he's like, "I don't think you can get it, bro." And I was like, "I think you're wrong on get it." But he was right. I didn't get it. But I told him, I'm like, "All right, well, when the thing happens, like if I don't get the raise, I'm just going to get a face tattoo." And it was just like I had already had one, but I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go get another, bro. Like, who the fuck cares about this whole teaching thing anyway? Like, whatever. And he was like, oh man, you're tripping. You won't. And then it was like, as I said, like the raise didn't come through, so I went and got another face tattoo. I was like, fuck this. Oh man. So I don't remember what the case was at that time, but I was working like really hard for something. I don't know. Maybe just like another person's business or something. I don't even know what it was. But I was like, yo, like fucking, you know what, bro? Like I need to make this money mouth shit happen. Like I'm gonna just go get dollar. I'm gonna go get money mouth on in my mouth. I'm gonna get it on my mouth. So I roll over to Mid Pacific and I roll in and Cabe's there. You know what I'm saying? He's chilling. He's not even doing a tattoo or nothing. I'm like, hey man, like what's up? What's the deal? How long you here for? And he's like, what you trying to do? I'm here for like an hour or whatever. I got somewhere to be, and I'm just like, bro, like I want a really small one. It's gonna take you less than an hour. I'm trying to get money mouth on my inside lip, and he's just like, no. He was just like, immediately no. And I'm like, bro, like what the fuck? And I mean, he's knowed me before. Like I wanted one on my face, and he said no. I want like he was just like, nah. He's knowed me. But this one was just like, come on, dog. Like, what the fuck you mean no? And he's like, oh, the tattoos in your mouth, they always fade away. I'm just like, dog, like, whatever. It's for me. It's not like for the whole world. It's for me or whatever. And you know, like after like 5-10 minutes, like he gave in. Actually. Um, but I think he really suggested I just put like dollar signs on the lip. And I was like, well, if you just put dollar signs on the lip, it doesn't it's not the same as it saying like dollar signs in mouth, because like the idea is Eddie Money mouth. Although if you just have dollar signs in your lip, it is like money in the mouth, I guess. But like fuck it, whatever, man. So you know, he may have been right, which he's a tattoo artist, and I mean, fuck it. I'll beg to say 95% of the time he's probably damn near right when he tells me what's going on with these tattoos. Although, uh, I want what I want, you know, because he's been in the goddamn industry and he's doing it, and he's good at what he does. So, he was probably right, but he did it anyway for the homie. So, uh, after like I don't know 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it was kind of faded. So then I blast myself with tattoos too. So I was like, fuck it, dude. I got a video of it if you check it on my YouTube channel. But I just re-blasted the inside of my mouth with my own tattoo machine in a video. Sitting in my fucking truck when I lived in my truck for like 3 years. So that was crazy. Um, so check that out. I'm gonna try to I think I'm gonna try to put the link up there, something like that. But even better than the story of that occurrence is, well, one of the first contests that I'm announcing. It was the Oli Longboard Classic. It's like a two-peak contest, so you're honestly talking like as much as I'm talking on this podcast, like for the whole day, but all you're saying is what's happening on the waves, and what peak it's happening on. So like every now and then you kind of get an interlude, and they had stuff to give away for questions, trivia, stuff like that. So instead of hitting a trivia question, Cabe is out there, and I just start telling the story about him giving me this tattoo. But like I'm sure I just said a minute ago when I was like, yo, I blast myself with tattoos. Like whenever I say I'm getting a tattoo, I say get blasted. So I'm like at this event, and it's a family event, and there's choke people. There's like tons of people there. I'm like, yeah, you know, Cabe is a good homie. He's even blasted me in the mouth with the tattoo. And like everybody's just like, he didn't hear it out there, but I sure as hell heard it from him later, because he rolls up. He's like, "Oh, bro, you just telling everybody I just blasted you in the mouth?" I'm like, I don't know, dog. I just been talking for so long. Did I say that? And he's like, "Oh yeah, you definitely said that." It's like the laugh of the day came blasted me in the mouth, the money mouth, dog. Yes, sir. Oh, so fuck it. We gonna end on that. You know what I'm saying? That's a good start. um, Click subscribe, like, share if you like what you've seen. It's your boy Ed the Dread, aka Eddie Money Mouth, aka Kahulaco, aka Lil Goofy Foot, aka Luke Lopez, aka the Black Bruce Wayne, aka Eddie Van Hayden. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, I got a lot of them. All right. But yeah, click like, click subscribe, click share, click all that. And if you don't, I don't care, because I'm going to keep doing this. Money Mouth Mondays coming at ya. Mahalo nui loa kako. Hui ho.